Okay, we're going to start to build our curtain walls, and we've got an existing curtain wall to go by, and I'm just going to point out some things. I'm just going to go to this front elevation so we can look at it from straight on. So what we have is we have two different types of muntins. We have a 2.5 by 5 inch rectangular, and then we have a 5 inch by 5 inch rectangular. I should say we have three of them, because anywhere we run into a wall, we have a special one that we've created that allows us to fill in the gap from where the curtain wall is into the wall space by thickening that so it goes to the wall partition. I'm going to create in this 3D view, actually. I'll change the view. Let me do a duplicate before I do this. Duplicate the view, and I'll rename this first floor doll. And make sure that it's set to existing. And we will arrange this to orient to the first floor plan view, existing, which will help us see what's going on. So there's our curtain wall, and I'm just going to raise the box up a little bit so we can see the full height of our spandrel glass. There we go. We're seeing part of our floor trusses there. And I've got to make adjustments to my floor wall heights as well, so we'll do that in just a second. Alright, so we're looking at this, and we've got what the problem is as we have that curtain wall, if it runs into the edge of the wall, we end up with a gap here. So this is to fill in that gap. So for instance, I take this one and I can change it to a rectangular to wall as well and fill in the gap up there. So it has three different types. It also has two different types of panels. We have a clear panel, and then we have a solid panel, or we call it spandrel glass. And then if you look at the way that the muntins are behaving, we have kind of a pattern going with the muntins, and I'm going to kind of try to create a similar pattern where it weaves back and forth. Okay, so let's take some information first about our existing curtain wall. If I select the or put my cursor near the curtain wall opening, we have, if I hit the tab key, you can see we can tab through the wall, we can tab through the panel, we can tab through the curtain wall storefront shape handle. So there's lots of things here. I want to just get the opening for the curtain wall, so I want to wait until I see the curtain wall note come up, and usually it will give us a little information about that. If you tab through, it usually says, something will come up and it will say curtain wall and give us a little bit of help. This doesn't seem to want to do it right now, but anyway, that's the curtain wall storefront. And if we look at what it's been set to begin with, we have a base offset of 2 feet, so that's this distance right here, and then we have a top constraint is unconnected, but we have an unconnected height of 8 feet to set the height here. And then if we look at the grid, I'm just going to hit the tab key. You can see as I tab through, I'm going to get a dashed line that indicates the grid line to set the height of the clear glass and the solid glass, and it's set to 2 feet 6 inches and 5 foot 6 inches. Also, if I were to hit the tab key until I got a dashed line at the muntins, it will give me a readout of what the dimensions are between here. And if I just keep kind of going on with that, you'll see that we have a common dimension as a result of the placement and the entire width of the curtain wall that creates a pattern. Okay, so curtain walls are all about creating a pattern. So we have 4'4" on one side, the 4'4" on the other, and then each of the panels in between is 4'8". So we may not necessarily use that same spacing, because we're going to use a spacing that makes sense for the size of the curtain wall, but our heights should definitely match, and what we end up putting in here for panels should definitely match. So let's begin by creating our new curtain wall. So I'm going to go to level 1 existing, and this is part of the existing condition still, by the way. And the kind of curtain wall that I want to create right here is, if we go into architecture and hit walls, you'll find curtain wall, existing exterior glazing, and storefront. We want to pick curtain wall 1. And I'm going to set the base offset here to 2 and the unconnected height to 8. And then I'm going to zoom in real close to this opening or this hallway area here. We're going to create a door, a double door that goes in, that's part of the storefront structure that goes into this hallway. So I want the beginning of the curtain wall to begin at around 1'6", and then I want to scroll over to the other side. Let's make that 40 feet. Now we're going to get a warning, and that warning is because this curtain wall does not automatically cut a space inside of your wall. So we're going to have to do that manually, and we do that by going to Modify, Cut, and it says to select elements to be cut first. So we want to select the wall first, and then we can select the curtain wall. So let's see what that looks like. And this is what that looks like right now. We just have a solid, no grid pattern curtain wall, but we do have the height set to 2 feet and the top height set to 8 feet. So now we want to start to establish the pattern for that side, and we have to keep in mind that we've got some walls here that we need to work with, especially the bearing wall here. Once we get into the phasing and changing of things, we're going to want to get rid of these walls here, or I can't remember, I think maybe these stay, but if we were designing a curtain wall and we knew that these walls were going to run into it, we'd obviously want to design the mullions so that they ran into the ends of the walls. So let's begin. I think it's going to be easiest for us to design it if we go to our view. So I'm going to go to the west elevation. And in the west elevation, we're seeing the view grayed out because it's in a new construction phase. So I'm going to change the phase to existing conditions. And I'm just going to point out that when I do that, if I go back to a level 1 existing, you're going to see that this, whoops, let me undo that. This elevation symbol wasn't here before, but now that we're looking at an existing conditions plan and we changed this view so it's existing conditions, then that elevation is now visible within this view because it's an existing conditions elevation. Notice that the other elevation symbols are not showing. That's because if we go to the north, south, and east elevations, they would all be set to phase new construction, so we wouldn't see them. Okay, so let's go back to, but while I'm here, let me just show you. In the west elevation, we're able to see our curtain wall, but we can't see any of the walls beyond. So I'm going to fix that by going to, let me just see if I change this to wireframe, if I can do it that way. So wireframe. It does work, but it shows a lot of extra gobbledygook that I don't really want to see. So what I'm going to do is go to the level 1 existing, and I'm going to select my elevation. And in the extent section of the elevation, while it's selected, I'm going to set no clip to clip without line, which will give me this hidden line. And I'm going to drag it just inside the wall so it will show the ends of these, just the very beginnings of these walls, but it's going to clip everything else beyond. Okay, so let's look at the elevation to see what that looks like. It's going to be a lot easier for us to read. So now see how we're only seeing the walls that are running into the curtain wall. Alright, so let's make the curtain wall. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is create a change to the curtain wall shape so that we include a section here that goes down so that we can create a door in this area. So I'm going to hit the tab key until I'm able to select the curtain wall shape itself, and I want to edit the profile. And I'm going to add, I'm going to go to the center of the wall at first. I want to add a section that comes down here, and I want it to come down to the floor. Then I can use the trim tool to trim that new shape of our curtain wall so it includes an opening right down to the floor here, which will allow us to install a door system with panels. So I'm going to hit the checkbox, and our new curtain wall goes right down to the floor. Next, we've got to create a grid of some kind. So I'm going to go ahead and go under architecture, and you'll see that we have curtain system, curtain grid, and mullion. I want to create a curtain grid, and you'll see that when I put my cursor towards the horizontal lines, then a vertical grid appears. If I put my cursor near a vertical line, then horizontal grid lines appear. So I'm going to try to put that at around 2'6". It seems to be snapping to 2 feet and 2'8". So once I pick that grid line, I can click on the dimension and just make that 2'6". And then I'm going to go near my horizontal line here, and I'm going to place this first grid at 3 feet. And then I'm going to hit escape, because I think I did this already, and I know that if we did start this at 1'6" and we made this 40 feet, we can end up using that 3-foot spacing all the way across, and it's going to land on the center of this wall and the center of that wall if we do that. So I want to select that grid line and use the array tool. Let's set the number to about 10, and the array is going to be from here to the line. And that actually worked out great, because we're going to build our grid here, custom grid. So that spacing of 3 feet works out perfectly, so I'm not going to mess with it. Now for this area here, we want to create a grid that divides this. You'll see that this will kind of snap to logical places. See how it's giving us some nice clean numbers. So I want to snap to about 2 feet here on this side, around 2 feet on that side, and then we'll put another grid right in the center. Alright, so now we've got our grid laid out. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add the mullions to it, and put in some panels.